TTJ Tech.
With our iPad for All Computer class coming up in just a week, actually slightly less now, we thought it might be a good idea to share with you some additional information about the iPad. Now, we promised this to you, and so here it is, my friends. It is time for our first installment, iPad versus Chromebook. Now, some people might be asking why we would do iPad versus Chromebook. Shouldn't we maybe be comparing iPad and, let's say, a Galaxy tablet or something? But these don't seem to be the most commonly compared. It seems to almost be a non-issue. Instead, the iPads, especially the 10.2-inch iPads, often seem to be compared to the Chromebooks of today. Especially for parents, families, kids, teachers, education, and so forth. And so we want to address that issue ourselves here on the TTJ Tech Show. And that's what today is going to be all about, my friends. We're going to talk 12 reasons, because the iPad is 12 years old now, our top 12 reasons why an iPad is better than a Chromebook. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we do get started, I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate the support. It is great to have you. So excited to be coming to you here from the TTJ Tech Show. And I want to remind you, if you've not already done so, to please subscribe to our channel. First of all, leave a like on this video if you would, please. It really does help, and we do appreciate it. And then subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. And then don't forget to hit that bell. Now, when you do that, my friends, that's going to keep you in the loop, so you're never going to miss a thing when we release a new video, and with new episodes of the TTJ Tech Show coming out every week, and more episodes from more shows as well. So our Fridays are the TTJ Tech Show, but we've also got TTJ Family Talk and the TTJ Science Show, and they're going to have episodes periodically, along with other things as well here on the TTJ channel. So please, my friends, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. All right, my friends, without any further ado, let us dive right in. Yeah, not that kind of diving yet. It's a little bit too chilly outside for swimming in the water unless you got an indoor pool. But hey, let's dive into our top 12 reasons why an iPad is better than a Chromebook. The number one reason, my friends, starting with number one, has to do with power and performance. Now, Chromebooks can be made by a variety of companies, right? Google makes its very own, the Pixelbook and the Pixelbook Go. You have things like the Lenovo line, and you've got Acer, just tons and tons of Chromebooks from different companies. And what we find is that, especially when you compare dollar for dollar, the Chromebooks are often severely underpowered. Now, my friends, I'm using the 10.2-inch 9th generation iPad as the foundation here. Obviously, if we go up into, for example, the iPad Pro, things are going to get even more crazy because those things are just off the charts powerful. But even the 9th generation, even the 8th generation iPad from last year are really extremely powerful, truly desktop-class systems, and are capable of doing anything and everything that you would do on a desktop. The processor found in the 8th generation iPad 10.2-inch was indeed a quad-core processor. Excuse me, I'm wrong. A 6-core processor. My apologies. I don't want to mislead you. A 6-core, that is right, 6-core processor with quad-core graphics and an 8-core neural engine. This year's A13 Bionic processor, found in the 10.2-inch iPad 9th generation, is even more powerful. We are talking serious performance here, and because Apple makes the entire process, as we've talked about before, of hardware, software, and services, and controls that entire experience, it is even better because the hardware can take advantage of the software, and the software knows how to make best use of the hardware. This is not something you will find on a Chromebook. what you find on a Chromebook, and remember, this 9th generation iPad we're talking so highly about here starts in price at just $329 for a consumer, $299 if you're in education, as an actual school district, teachers and students, people who homeschool, college students, you could get it for just over $300. This is a really good buy with 64 gigabytes of storage. You can go up to 256, of course, but this is just incredible because if you look at what the Chromebooks are offering at a similar price point, again, we could go up and maybe get a little more power, although I still think it's actually rather underwhelming compared to what iPad has. But, we could go up to $600 or $700 Chromebooks, but we are talking about dollar for dollar here. And at that $200 to $300 price point, you're not going to find a Chromebook that's capable of doing nearly what an iPad does. They're underwhelming in performance and power. They are slow, and overall, they are just lacking in anything really incredible. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, the displays. Similar here to what we were talking about with power and performance, you're going to find a drastic difference between the displays found on an iPad and those found on a Chromebook. First of all, many of the Chromebooks at this price point are not touchscreen devices. Now, there are Chromebooks that are touchscreen devices, and that does indeed help, but even those are often found to be lower in quality than the iPads. The display on the iPad here, the 9th generation 10.2-inch iPad display is an absolutely incredible Retina display, very, very high quality, and we are talking about the True Tone technology included here that automatically adjusts the color temperature based upon the ambient lighting, the lighting conditions around you, and it is IPS technology. It is a fantastic display, better than HD, far better than HD, right? So we are seeing a really, really great display, and we've talked about the specs of that display in a previous video when we did our review of the iPad. I'm not going to spend time going over them right now, or you can go to apple.com, you can go to the Apple Store app, and you can see those specifications for yourself. But just know that the displays on the iPads are top of the line, even on the 9th generation iPad, and that's not including the extra features you get if you do go up to the Pro. But basically or even the Air, but basically the display on the 10.2-inch iPad is still so good that it far outperforms anything on a Chromebook. Chromebooks have very low-res displays. They are not designed for this same high quality, and you're going to see the difference right away if you can see. And this sort of can be combined with our number 3 reason why iPads are better than a Chromebook, and that is audio. The audio system on Chromebooks is often subpar, again, especially at this price point. Remember, $329 without any discounts, direct to consumer from Apple for this iPad, and for that price point. And it really is often less than that, because if you were to get an 8th generation, if you'd be able to find that, or perhaps a certified used from Apple, which is like buying new anyway, or, again, a teacher discount, student discount, whatever, you're going to be, 200 and some change, right? And for that price, a Chromebook is going to sound like all the audio is coming from within a bucket or within some kind of a chamber. It just does not sound clear. It sounds very muffled. You cannot make out the nuance. But the stereo speakers on the iPad 9th generation sound absolutely fantastic. They're not going to fill an entire room, for your next Super Bowl party, but they're not designed to, right? You're going to use HomePods for that, or sound bars, or other types of things of that nature. You're not going to be using an iPad for that. But for a person sitting, or even a couple people, even a family crowded around watching something, listening to something, this iPad speaker system is going to be absolutely phenomenal. The same cannot be said about a Chromebook. It's not that phenomenal. It isn't. It's just not that good. The audio quality and the mic quality. Let's talk about the microphones. The stereo mic, the system. So first of all, there are stereo mics that, again, if we go up to iPad Air, iPad Pro, you got studio quality, they're called. They don't actually say that with the iPad 9th generation 10.2, but here's the truth. They're good enough to be studio quality in practice, okay? And I'm doing the recording of this podcast, this YouTube video / audio, whatever you want to call it, on an iPad right now with no external microphones, just the built-in mic, okay? So Here's the deal. The microphones, if you're going to be doing maybe some vocal performance, singing, stuff like that, you might want something external. But for the built-in mics for spoken audio, interviews, even recording rehearsals and stuff like that, they're going to be absolutely amazing. Not so with a Chromebook, right? You're barely going to be good enough to do your, Google Duo or your Zoom chats, whereas with FaceTime and Zoom and so forth on the iPad, they're going to be absolutely incredible. And you can hear that for yourself. All right, reason number 4 why the iPad is just so much on a different playing field than the Chromebooks, the OS itself. Now, iPad, of course, runs iPad OS. Chromebooks run Chrome OS. The Chrome OS, it's very hard for me to even really call that a true operating system because it's very much a web resident kind of thing. Basically, when you turn on a Chromebook, what you get is a Chrome browser, and everything is web-based. Now, there is a Chrome OS store, apparently. I'll be honest, not done anything with it. And, if you happen to be able to get your hands on a Chromebook with a touchscreen, like some of the slightly higher-priced ones, then Android apps should, in theory, run on the Chromebook. But there are going to be some apps that just don't work perfectly, and there are going to be so many variants, right? So many variables here. The Chrome OS is a web resident operating system. iPad OS has been built from the ground up to take advantage of everything this amazing iPad offers. And so that's why we had to talk about this with reason number 4. So your power management, your graphics, your audio, your security, everything is just second to none with iPad OS. And of course, that leads us right on into reason number 5, which is the apps. Millions of apps available for the iPad as compared to the very limited number you can get on Chromebooks. We can take advantage of everything that the App Store has to offer, and that's not including all the stuff that Apple ships with the device and includes for you. Now, sure, it must be said that Chromebooks can run things like Google Docs, Chrome, Gmail, and they've got YouTube, and they can play video, and there's some degree of those things there, but it is not the same experience as the iPad. And if you ask any Chromebook user, they will tell you that there is a vast difference. Again, please remember that I like Google. All right, this is not a slam against Google. The very next video you're going to see, spoiler alert, is all about how I use Google products. I am actually quite a big fan of Google, but we got to be honest when we're talking about this thing. As a tech guy, I've got to tell you the truth, and the Chromebook doesn't hold a candle to the iPad. So here we are with our 4th and 5th reason, and again, they have to do with the OS and the apps. It is amazing the apps that you can run on an iPad. And, these apps are not just limited to, watching movies and, typing your documents. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I love to watch movies and TV shows. And if I'm traveling, I watch them on the iPad. I create documents all the time. That's a very important part of my line of work. But you know what? The iPad also lets me do audio editing, serious audio editing, video editing, photo editing, web design, running my business, and a whole lot more right from the iPad. And the Chromebook will not have many of those same apps available to it, right? I defy you to find a true audio editor, video editor. You can do some limited things with Google Photos and, but it's not going to be the same experience. And you can find this even from people on YouTube who are using and have used Chromebooks for a couple of years straight now. And you'll find that they still have to revert to their other systems, typically Windows machines, when they want to do any heavy lifting. And we don't have to do that. Of course, we could use a Macintosh, but we don't even have to with an iPad, right? So the whole thing I did before about how an iPad is really a true replacement for even a Mac, and I did a reaction video where the guy said, oh no, it's not a serious replacement. It is a serious replacement. What's not a serious replacement is a Chromebook. If you're going to have a Chromebook, you're going to have to supplement it with something else. It is the thing that it's going to be said that there is not a true replacement. So that's a very important distinction there. And please understand that these iPads are capable of running these things because the hardware allows it also. And again, that brings us back to the underwhelming performance of power within most Chromebooks that will not allow things like Adobe Photoshop to run. You don't see Adobe rushing to make Photoshop for Chrome OS, but they have it for iPad OS. Why? Because iPad OS and the iPad hardware are capable of allowing this to happen, and to happen in a very good way that's going to create a pleasant experience. There is supposedly some kind of Windows emulator thing you can install on a Chromebook that supposedly maybe allows you to run some of this stuff, but please, let's be reasonable. All right. So now that's our next group of reasons. Let's continue. Again, just to remind you, reason number 1 was power and performance. 2 was display quality. 3 was audio quality. 4 and 5 were OS and apps, respectively. Number 6, we're now going to continue, jump right in, talk a little bit more about some hardware here. Cameras. The cameras on Chromebooks, well, they can't even be called cameras. They have to be called camera, because most Chromebooks have chosen to adopt the traditional laptop design. Some of them have adopted a sort of convertible design so that you can have a touchscreen, but the reality of it is they really are going to have only one camera, a front-facing camera, and not a very good one at that, typically. So what you're going to see is something that's enough to do your Google Duo, your Zoom, your, WebEx, and those kinds of things. But with an iPad, we get 2 cameras, a rear and a front. And while the camera on the rear of the 10.2-inch 9th generation iPad is probably not moving, the whole world forward anymore, it still is a fantastic camera, and it provides us a way to definitely move things forward within our lives and within our world, within whatever it is that we may be doing, because we can record, we can do time-lapse videos, so we can take a beautiful video of a sunset, a sunrise, of a scientific change with an experiment. We can do slow-mo videos. We can do just videoing in general, right, with our rear, and then we can certainly take pictures with our rear camera. Our front-facing camera is going to far outperform anything that Chromebooks have even thought about, and really is a drastic, revolutionary type of thing. This wide-angle 12-megapixel front-facing camera with center stage, which again is going to allow the subject to remain in view even if they move within reason, is something you definitely are not going to see on a Chromebook. So 2 cameras, not 1, and a beautiful wide-angle 12-megapixel camera with center stage instead of a much watered-down, basic webcam of sorts on a Chromebook. That was reason number 6. All right, our next reason number 7, cellular capability. Now, this obviously is going to require a bit of a price hike, roughly $130 on top of the purchase price of either iPad configuration 64 or 256 gigabytes. But keep in mind what this is giving you. This is giving you the ability to use your iPad anywhere you go, out in the park, at the coffee shop, at the airport, at the hotel, at the restaurant, at the library, even at school. As a teacher, maybe I don't want to connect to the Wi-Fi network, and obviously there's some considerations there for students, but that's managed by your IT department and by parents and by, all of those things, all right? I'm not saying you have to have it. It's not in every iPad. You purchase it if you want it, but the reality of it is, comparing it, it's going to give you something that a Chromebook simply cannot offer you, and that is this truly unmatched cellular performance. You're going to get LTE, 5G on some models, the higher priced ones, but also keep in mind that what you're also getting here is that you're getting the ability to buy the iPad with the cellular radios and not sign up. So you're not forced into something that you may or may not want. You can sign up later if you want it. You can sign up in 2 different ways. You can add the iPad to your existing cellular carrier plan, or you can sign up for a sort of a data pass right on the iPad in settings. And it can be, for a day, for a month, auto renew, whatever you want to do. And many carriers to choose from here in the United States and others in other countries. Credit card billing when you do that, prepaid, so no, credit checks, qualifications, anything like that. Cancel when and if you want to, pause if you want, whatever the case may be. And you can do it all electronically, either way. eSIM, definitely the way to go. I've yet to find a Chromebook that'll offer this. All right, our number 8 reason is the keyboard and the pencil. Now, it must be said that Chromebooks generally come with built-in keyboards, and that's one of the selling points that the Chromebook fans try to make is, well, whatever you purchase on your iPad, you're going to have to add on a keyboard, so there's more cost there for you. And, the Chromebook doesn't require that. It's this rugged thing, and it just has the keyboard built in. All right, here's the reality. The Chromebook is suffering from lack of innovation and is kind of stuck in the 90s with that look of a typical laptop computer, even if it has a touchscreen. The other thing that's happening here is that the iPad is giving you far more versatility, because we now have a piece of glass that can be anything we want it to be, a device that can be anything we want it to be. And if we need a keyboard, we attach that keyboard when and if we want it, when and if we need it, and we turn it into now our workhorse office desk, classroom desk machine. Otherwise, it's our beautiful piece of glass where we can paint pictures, where we can edit audio, where we can watch movies and shows and do our homework and all sorts of other things, recipes in the kitchen, or, looking at beautiful maps or whatever the case may be. So we don't always need that keyboard 24/7. If you're like me, you get an Apple Smart keyboard and you now have that keyboard 24/7 when you want it, but it folds neatly out of the way and barely adds any weight to your iPad whatsoever. And that is the beauty of the system in the 9th generation iPad, is that Smart keyboard. If that's not your thing, Logitech makes some, and there's even one specifically designed for education. So you have a lot of options here. And that's the other nice thing. You can spend what you want. Some people will prefer to get these little folding keyboards, that are just Bluetooth. That's not me, but, some people might. So you can do that. The important thing is that they support keyboards, and thanks to the Smart connector, it's a really beautiful system that doesn't require pairing, battery replacement, or, anything of that nature, right? So it turns it into a true laptop feel, and it just works. And then there's the Pencil, and I have yet to see anything on the Google side equivalent to the Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil, with its palm rejection, with its pressure sensitivity, with outline shading, this device is amazing. And try using it even with the Apple Notes app, or, step it up to an app like Procreate, Sketches, School, Paint, Brushes, Art Studio Pro, Sketchbook, or others, and you will be amazed what this Apple Pencil helps you to do. It is so lifelike. It's such a beautiful drawing experience, and it is not to be replicated by any Chromebook. That was number 8, my friends. We've got just 4 more to go, with our number 9 reason being build quality. Now, the Chromebooks, they are advertised as being very student-centric by being made of rubbery plastic components. But at the end of the day, when you really get right down to it, what that means is you have a device that is made of rubbery plastic components. This is not ideal, my friends. It just really isn't. And when you compare it to the beautiful aluminum and glass that you have on the iPad, that feels so good in the hand, that feels like it has individually been crafted. I mean, it just is an amazing feel. And even when you add a cover or what have you to this, it is just beautiful. And you've got the gorgeous Apple logo on the back, and it is, it is not cluttered by all these random things that people don't need. You can buy adapters if you need extra ports, but these Chromebooks, no. Okay, so that's our 9. Number 10 is actually going to be security. Now, look, at the end of the day, I am a Google user as well. I am definitely an Apple user first and foremost, but I have a lot of Google stuff too. And again, I'm actually a big fan of a lot of stuff that Google does. There's no disputing that Apple has the strongest security, the most focus on privacy, and the most secure operating system, software, services, and everything in existence. But taking that a step farther, most of your Chromebooks will not have biometric authentication. For that $329 price tag, your iPad is going to include Touch ID, which is one of the most well-respected forms of biometric authentication in existence. Of course, higher models have Face ID and so on, but still, you are looking at a very secure system with Touch ID, and it's not to be found on Chromebooks, at least not at its price point. All right, my friends, we are down to the final 2 reasons why the iPad is better than the Chromebook. Integration. Again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Google doesn't do this at all, because Google does, and Google is getting better and better and better. But Apple just nails it with the beautiful integration that is offered by things like iCloud, continuity, and more, and the fact that it is hardware, software, and services all working together in an incredibly happy trio. This is unbeatable. You cannot beat the tight integration of Apple products with one another, how well they work together. If you've got an iPad and you get an iPhone, an Apple TV, an Apple Watch, a HomePod Mini, and even other devices that are designed to work with them, like HomeKit products, you're going to see an unmatched, unsurpassed level of integration. How the devices can work together so beautifully, it is possible to literally stop writing an email on one device and just resume right on the other one when you pick it up right where you left off. Answer phone calls on all your devices. See who's at the door on your TV. Share passwords with people that are in your Wi-Fi password, that are people that are in your contacts and so on. It's just absolutely amazing, and we don't want to overlook that because it's truly incredible. And our final reason number 12, we finally reached the conclusion of this video. Our 12th and final reason for today, believe it or not, price point. Now, I know you're thinking, that doesn't make any sense because Chromebooks are less expensive than iPads, and once you buy the iPad, you got to buy the case, the keyboard, the adapter. But listen, dollar for dollar, what you're getting, bang for your buck, price point is a factor in the iPad's favor. And any reviewer who tells you that you should consider a Chromebook because it's less expensive is not including the extra information here that we've included, right? They're not thinking about how much less power you're going to get in that price point. They're not thinking about the quality of the audio and the display that you're going to get for that comparable price point. They're not thinking about the lack of cellular capability, Touch ID, or other features. Instead, they're just looking dollar for dollar at a $200 I can get a Chromebook with a keyboard versus I got to spend $300 plus the keyboard price. But they're not looking at what the overall experience and performance is going to be, or they would not put that in Google in the Chromebook's favor. Instead, they'd put it on the Apple side because the most inexpensive base model iPad is going to far outperform any day of the week a Chromebook, and we're going to do some testing to show that. I also would point out that, remember, it is possible to get more expensive Chromebooks, right? But it was said by one reviewer that you've got to spend at least $600 or $700 to even get a mid-line, middle-of-the-road performing Chromebook. Okay, I paraphrase a bit. That is not the case with an iPad. You can spend $300 and get the best computer you've ever had in your life. So please, my friends, if you are thinking about this, share it with your family, your friends, and your coworkers too. We've just given you the top 12 reasons why we believe that an iPad is far, far better than a Chromebook. I want to thank you for joining us today and say God bless you. This has been Trainer Matt from the TTJ Tech Show. I know you'll be back to see what we have coming, and we've got lots more in store, so please stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. We're going to see you very soon right here on TTJ. Don't forget to check us out as well on our website at www.ttjtech.net. For right now, this has been Matt Volbrick of TTJ Tech. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.